speed, power, passion. The 2007 Supercross Series is getting set to launch a new season. Carmichael, Stewart, Reed, Windham are getting set to battle through a 16-event series that will crown the Amped Mobile AMA Supercross Series champion and Amped Mobile World Supercross GP champion. It's going to be an amazing season, and it starts right now.
James Stewart, and here comes Stewart to the inside. And Chad Reed's not that shot. To Carmichael. Carmichael goes crazy. Everybody on there. Here comes Carmichael. Stops her. Right in the corner. Stewart retakes the lead with two. Here comes James Stewart to the inside. Bangs into the side of the net. The white flag is out. Here we go. One more lap.
In this issue of SX Exposed, we'll review the greatest season in Supercross history, update you on the riders and their teams for 2007, highlight the action-packed Canadian rounds, profile title hopefuls Reed, Stewart, and Windham, and show you the incredible action that took place at the Jeremy McGrath Invitational. All that and much more in SX Exposed 3.1. The 2006 Supercross Series will be remembered for an incredible season-long battle between three of the sport's brightest stars. From the first gate drop in Anaheim to the wave of the checkered flag in Las Vegas, Ricky Carmichael, James Stewart, and Chad Reed were tied up in an ultra-tight points battle.
A whole bunch of superstars ready to battle it out here in the biggest race of the Supercross season.
At the season opener in Anaheim, we got our first glimpse of who would become the front runners all year. Ricky Carmichael enjoyed an early lead until he went down in the whoops and handed over the victory to James Stewart.
Carmichael to the whoops. The Anaheim opener goes to James Stewart.
At Phoenix, the tables turned. Stewart washed out in the first corner, which cleared a path to victory for Carmichael.
He wins it in Phoenix.
Anaheim 2 emphasized the brewing storm between Carmichael and Stewart. In the final laps, Stewart made a mistake, and Carmichael cashed in on the victory.
4-second range. Oh! Stewart with a huge bobble, and Carmichael can't capitalize.
They're on tracks.
Oh, down goes Stewart.
He always won here in Anaheim, too, and he picks up yet another.
At San Francisco, heavy rain turned the event into a mud fest. In the end, Stewart made the fewest mistakes and took the checkered flag.
I've never seen a race that was so slow, that was so thrilling. The white flag is out. Here we go. One more lap. Oh, Carmichael stumbled. Stewart retakes the lead.
At the final stop in Anaheim, disaster struck for Stewart.
Oh, James Stewart is down. Oh, and down goes Stewart again.
He crashed 3 times and took out the king of Supercross, Jeremy McGrath. Carmichael rode unchallenged for the win.
Ricky Carmichael's gonna win too here at Angel Stadium.
Stewart struck back at San Diego. He waited patiently for the right moment, made a clean pass on Carmichael,
Here comes James Stewart to the inside.
and took the victory.
Stops Carmichael in the corner and takes the lead. James Stewart is doing it here tonight, taking the win for the Kawasaki team.
St. Louis was the most pivotal race of the season. After a first turn crash, a busted shock sent Carmichael to the pits.
Carmichael calling it a night here in St. Louis.
It was a golden opportunity for Stewart to take control of the points lead, but he hit a tough block, crashed, and couldn't capitalize.
James Stewart has crashed. Chad Reed leads here in St. Louis.
Chad Reed won his first event of the season and took the points lead.
Chad Reed's going to get his first win of 2006 and take over the points lead here in St. Louis.
The next stop was in Atlanta. While Stewart struggled, Carmichael chased down Reed and posted the win.
Right now, James Stewart is on the ground.
Unbelievable! The plot twist continues.
Ricky Carmichael returned the favor here in 2006.
Carmichael has taken over the lead. Ricky Carmichael gets his 4th win of 2006.
As the Amped Mobile Supercross Series moved to Indianapolis, the title was far from decided. Carmichael took advantage of a crash by Stewart and chalked up another win.
Win number 45 for Ricky Carmichael.
During the next 3 races at Orlando, Detroit, and Houston, Stewart shifted the momentum in his favor and put together a string of victories. Next stop, Texas Stadium in Dallas. From the moment the gate dropped, both Carmichael and Stewart threw caution to the wind, and they both suffered the consequences.
Hogging the hay bales, looking for an edge where they're right.
He got him. He's got him. Inside, it made all the difference how he got through those woods, Denny.
He's got the bike, he just kept on the gas. He crashed into a photographer opening the race. He overjumps, lands in the valley, and basically just lands in the tough blocks. A big crash. He's lucky he landed on the...
Chad Reed was the beneficiary of their reckless attack and won his 2nd race. The Amped Mobile Supercross Tour then traveled to Seattle. It was another mud race where anything can happen. Stewart outrode Carmichael and Reed in the challenging conditions and won.
Thrown off the course.
He is so strong. You see the motorcycle, it took an instant right
Going
turn.
into the final race in Las Vegas, Carmichael and Reed were tied, while Stewart was just 5 points behind.
No Supercross title in history has ever come down to the last race where they're 1-2 points apart.
The title was up for grabs, and you could feel the tension in the air. After 16 races and 320 main event laps, the Amped Mobile AMA Supercross title was determined in the last seconds of the last lap of the last race.
Even though the 20 laps at Vegas, there wasn't a lot of action, a lot of passing, it was so intense because all 3 guys were lined up. One mistake by any of them could have changed the outcome of the whole series.
He is the Amped Mobile World Supercross GP champion.
Although Stewart won the battle at Las Vegas, Carmichael won the war.
And Ricky Carmichael is the Amped Mobile AMA Supercross champion once again.
I'm speechless, man. I've done all I can do, and I'm glad to go out a winner.
Carmichael finished just 2 points ahead of the other 2. Stewart and Reed tied for 2nd in points, which meant that the 2nd and 3rd podium spots had to be determined by race wins. As a result, Stewart took 2nd overall, while Reed rounded out the podium in 3rd. The 2007 Supercross season promises to be equally as entertaining, as we will witness Stewart and Reed battling for the title, while Carmichael plans on upsetting the balance with a limited race schedule. The professional Supercross racer is like a hired gun. He is a highly trained and gifted athlete who is willing to put his life on the line to deliver results for his contract holder. Value is determined by results on the track, popularity with fans, race experience, and the ability to provide feedback while riding constantly evolving, state-of-the-art machinery. Some interesting changes were made in the Supercross class, and because of this, 2007 promises to be an awesome year. Starting at the top of last year's rankings, Ricky Carmichael will continue to ride for Suzuki, choosing a select few events to test his mettle. Teammate Ivan Tedesco is also back after a strong first season in the Supercross class. James Stewart will continue to pilot the number 7 factory Kawasaki, while Michael Byrne has been replaced by veteran Tim Ferry. The most significant changes have taken place under the blue tents of Team Yamaha. While Chad Reed will continue to ride a factory bike, it will be with a new team called San Manuel Band of Mission Indians. Joining him and moving up to the 450 will be Lights class veteran Nathan Ramsey, who's back after missing most of last season due to injury. Yamaha fans will now find Lights champion Grant Langston as the factory team Supercross class racer. Team Honda will continue to feature Travis Preston as their Red Rider, while teammate Davey Millsaps is sidelined with a broken leg. Kevin Windham is the man on the factory Honda, supported by the Sobe No Fear Samsung Honda team. This season, Windham will look to be a contender in every race after missing half of last season due to injury. As these riders line up for the first race of the year in Anaheim, all will be trying to live up to the coveted positions they've been given. Racing against the select few factory riders will be the Privateers. They're sponsored by shops, businesses, and sometimes mom and dad. Last year's top privateer, Nick Way, will continue to lead the MDK team aboard the white Honda, while picking up a new stablemate in David Villeman. The new season officially started December 2nd, when event number 1 of the Amped Mobile World Supercross GP Series was held in Toronto. A new racing format has eliminated the semi-final heat races and qualified riders based on their lap times in practice. Team Suzuki's Ivan Tedesco was more than a little upset when Stewart landed on him during the practice session and was left with a broken hand and the possibility of missing several races. The main event set the tone for what promises to be an awesome year of racing. Michigan's Nick Way captured the Progressive Direct Hole Shot Award for beating all the other riders to the first turn. Rounding the sweeper at the beginning of lap 2, Carmichael and Reed both made an attempt to pass Way. Carmichael caught a tough block and went down, dropping to 17th place. Meanwhile, Reed made the pass and had nothing but open track ahead. It wasn't long before Stewart moved into second and began reeling in Reed. Stewart passed Reed by diving to the inside of a turn, only to be repassed by him a few turns later. After passing Reed again, Stewart lost traction, and Reed bumped into his rear tire, sending him off the track. While Reed took the lead, Stewart re-entered the course without checking traffic and was T-boned by the already airborne Travis Preston. Chad Reed picked up the win for his new team, with Carmichael in second and Stewart in third. Tim Ferry and David Villeman rounded out the top 5. Shortly after crossing the finish, Stewart dropped his bike and fell to the ground in pain. He was soon visited by Travis Preston, who was angered by Stewart's lack of caution. Following the race, both Ivan Tedesco and Preston filed protests with the FIM, and as a result, Stewart was fined and put on probation until May. With Ricky Carmichael in semi-retirement, Chad Reed is hoping to reclaim the title he won in 2004. He's armed with a new team, mechanic, and mindset, and he'll definitely be one to watch.
You know, I think at this point going into 07, I have a lot of things that have changed. I need to go to a new level because I can't continue being who I was and sustain doing what I was doing. Otherwise, I'm going to be the third best guy every weekend. That's not fun. That's not what I'm here to do.
Factory Yamaha rider, a former champion, battling bar to bar with McGrath, and he's your new leader. Look at the roost as they get back on that front. Chad Reed leads here in St. Louis. A huge momentum shift for Chad Reed.
Those battles that two guys had, I want to be there for that battle. You know, everybody's playing on the race team, and that's why I'm here on Element Racing. That's why I got created, to try and start winning again and put that 22 on top again. I've created a lot of stuff around me to make racing fun again. I think you gotta go down sometimes to go back up. I just need to change up my attitude and be excited that I can go faster than ever and race the track for 20 laps.
Chad Reed's going to get his first win of 2006 and take over the points lead here in St. Louis.
It's a new race team. We have a new bike, a new mechanic, and we're going to have new tracks, I think, and just change things up. I just want to make that transition and be strong when it counts. A lot of people think that I've kind of lost my drive to win a title, and then we're back to show those guys that we're stronger than ever, and we're gonna fight to the end.
Vancouver hosted the second World Supercross GP round. James Stewart showed up to race despite being on crutches most of the week and actually took the whole shot in the main. Carmichael shadowed him until lap 16, where a lapped rider provided the perfect opportunity for him to take the lead and the win. Stewart finished in second, and Reed joined them on the podium in third. Veterans David Villeman and Tim Ferry rounded out the top 5. The Amped Mobile point standings look like this after 2 thrilling races. Carmichael is on top, followed by Reed and Stewart.
It's tough, it's hard to get a good start every single time out. But, if you get a good start, that night, it's going to make your life a lot easier.
The start is the most pivotal moment in any race. Get a good one and set the pace. Get a bad one and eat dirt.
If you start up front, you tend to run with the leaders, and it kind of pulls you along.
For me, it's one of the scariest spot of the racing. It's the start.
To get a good start, it's just tons of factors, Everyone kind of has a little ritual maybe that they go through. I think we all check our gas like maybe 16 times before they turn the car sideways. But you want to have that perfect release of the clutch, perfect, throttle response, and just a perfect straight line to the first turn.
You got to be focused on the gate dropping and getting there first. That way you avoid all the contacts and the guys that are going to go down.
I think that's probably the scariest part of racing is going into one little corner with 20 riders in Supercross, going wide open into a corner.
The first turn always looks a lot crazier when you're not on the bike. Like when I watch the first corner, it just looks crazy to me. But when I'm on the bike, it doesn't seem that bad because all the guys out there are good riders and somewhat have control. And but sometimes it does get ugly, and when it is, it's pretty bad.
The gate. Go as fast as you want to.
31-year-old Tim Ferry is a racer's racer. He's won an East Coast Lights title and gone from factory-sponsored champion to privateer and back to factory-supported racer more than once. Injuries have sidelined him in recent years, but he's healthy now, and Team Kawasaki believes he still has what it takes.
He's a little bit older than everyone else, so he's not into the going out and spending money and doing all kinds of stuff.
At this point, he's 31 years old, I'm sure that he wants to put, you know, in another good 3, 4, 5 years.
I had 2 years with, you know, a lot of injuries. I hurt my wrist, had 3 surgeries, a couple knee surgeries and stuff, and so yeah, I guess a little way to come back, and this was just a perfect fit. When they, you know, they asked if I was interested, I, you know, jumped on board for sure. For me, I want to get back to at least where I was at before I got hurt.
Consistently, I'd like Tim to be always, I'd like him to be on the podium as much as he can, but I'd like him really to be top 5 every week. I'd like to finish in the top 5.
This year I kind of went back to, I think, kind of what actually helped me back in 02, 03, 04. I started being a lot more open-minded. It's going to be good for me to be on the team with James. He's obviously he's a phenomenal rider, and just being able to, you know, pick up on a few things that he does. He seems like a kind of a trendsetter when it comes to some of the new technique stuff. You know, he's definitely going to help motivate and push me to try to get up there and race with him. And it should be a fun year. He's a good kid, and hopefully if I can help him, that's cool. And if he can help me, I appreciate it.
16 tracks in 16 weeks. Each one designed to challenge the racers and determine who is truly the fastest over many types of technical terrain. Sound easy? You've got 18 minutes to practice before you race.
Yeah, when you walk the track, I mean, it's usually the same obstacles, just in a different rhythm, different places, and they just try and look for what you're going to be doing during the race. You know, there's some jumps you might be able to do a couple times here and there, but I try and look for what's going to be the fastest for 20 laps.
The combination and how they build them are always going to be different. So you always have to find that fast line. The spacing is going to be slightly different. You know, the berms, the dirt conditions. You know, if we go to a track that has a lot of grip, you might be able to jump another 5-10 feet versus one that's, you know, maybe going to be like a harder track that you're going to be spinning a lot.
Well, every Supercross, they always have triples. You know, there's 3 jumps in a row. They're usually like 10 feet tall. It's like 75 feet apart. And they always have at least 2 of those. So those, I like those because, you know, you jump and you get so high, you can actually take a breath, you can relax the hands. And, you know, they have the ones where you got like a little 5-footer where you jump onto a tabletop jump, and then you got to come right off of it over another 5-footer, and they're the same height. So those are tough too.
And you got to kind of look ahead of things. You know, the track, when you get to walk it for the first time, changes a lot. You know, when you've been racing for a while, you can kind of see like, oh, this jump is going to kind of shape into this, and instead of going 3-2, you're going to end up going 2-2-1 or 2-3, you know, whatever it might be. And then the same deal with the whoops. You know, they change so much. You might walk out there in the beginning and go, wow, these things are gnarly. But by the time you race on them, you know, there are those times they get worse, but for the most part, you kind of figure a nice line out around there, and just, you know, you just do your lap times and you know, figure out which section you need to go faster in.
It seems like most of the time the harder line is usually the faster line, because it just becomes the line that everybody takes. But, you know, like they say, not always the fastest and easiest road is going to get you to the end quicker.
Like any other sport, you know, obviously the courses we're dealt are way more technical than, say, a car track or something. To go to a Supercross race, whether it's in Canada or all across the U.S., and you show up and the track's different every week, and you have a 10-minute and an 8-minute practice before you got a race, definitely adds to the excitement for me.
Hi, I'm Ronnie Renner. Whenever I'm not off doing freestyle shows around the world, I'm chilling with my family in the desert right here in my C-Force.
The lights class is a vital part of Supercross racing. Young riders begin there, ride a more limited schedule, vie for titles either in the East or West, and hopefully qualify for the prestigious East-West Shootout held in Las Vegas at the end of the season. Last year, Honda rider Davey Millsaps won the East Coast Lights title in dominating style, posting 4 race wins and 3 second-place finishes in the 7-race series.
Checkers and a championship. The Supercross Lights East Coast title for 2006 goes to American Honda's Davey Millsap.
In the West Coast Series, Kawasaki's Grant Langston fought a tremendous battle with Honda's Andrew Short. In fact, the title was decided in the final round in rainy Seattle, Washington.
Trouble. The championship hopes for Andrew Short.
Short struggled in the muddy conditions and finished 8th, while Langston clinched the title with a race win.
The West Coast title belongs to Grant Langston. He is the 2006 AMP Mobile AMA Supercross Lights West Coast Series champion.
Down but not out, Andrew Short bounced back to win the East-West Shootout in Las Vegas for the 2nd time in his career.
And the winner of the 2006 Davey Coombs Sr. East-West Shootout is Andrew Short.
After a great lights class career, Short will be making the jump up to Supercross class with the factory Honda team. Lights riders to watch this season include Pro Circuit Kawasaki's Ryan Villapoto, Sobe No Fear Honda's Josh Grant, Team KTM's Alessi Brothers, and Yamaha's Brock Hepler. South African Grant Langston has won East and West Coast Lights titles, and he recently signed with factory Yamaha as their Supercross class rider. The jump up to the Premier Division won't be easy, but Grant brings a wealth of experience.
Grant Langston has won all the other Lights championships. East Coast Outdoor World Championship, and now the West Coast title belongs to Grant Langston. He is the 2006 AMP Mobile AMA Supercross Lights West Coast Series champion.
Supercross is definitely, it's like nothing I've ever been able to compare with. Just all the people and the lights, the fans, the tracks, the riders. I think that's what's made Supercross so exciting. You know, Anaheim won, I tell you what, I get butterflies in opening ceremonies and hear the crowd go nuts. And I tell you what, man, that adrenaline rush is like, it's like having 5 horsepower behind you. I became a part of Team Yamaha, you know, a little earlier this season. And they sound like they had a great program. And, you know, with their other team, with Reed and Ramsey, they were looking for a 450 guy that they thought could be the guy that would be the next sort of up-and-coming guy. And so when they approached me, it's kind of flattering to get those sort of compliments and to have a great company like Yamaha, you know, saying that they would really love to have you aboard their program. So, you know, I'm looking forward to the challenge. I feel I have a good few years in the 450 class and hopefully go and push to be a title contender.
Physically, getting off the track after a 15-lap moto, you want to die.
Only one can stand atop the podium, and every rider is looking for a competitive edge.
You got to be working all day, every day on, you know, your bike setup, your technique on the track, and your fitness. It used to be to where you just do the jumps and you were pretty fast. Now it's, you know, most everybody's doing the same obstacles. Obviously, some guys hit the corners and the whoops faster, but what enables you to race these sections and put together the fastest lap time is your endurance.
Every guy on the line, when you go to a Supercross, they're all great riders and they're fast. But when push comes to shove,
Caught up in that pack and going over the bars and the
guy
whoops.
that's done his homework is going to be able to ride in that lead position or ride in second place or be in a battle and be calm.
You got to be ready.
Most of the riders you see out there, they have a trainer, and it really helps them out. And I just think that that's just one more key to my success.
Everyone can ride fast for a lap. You know, it's riding fast for 20 laps is a problem.
The mental side of racing and winning is tough, but I do say that how you prepare obviously improves your mental ability and that confidence in your, not in your equipment, but in your ability to ride.
Hitting the whoops and hitting a triple into the corner, to hit the inside to pass somebody, you know, in a lot of situations like that, you're holding your breath.
Sneaking underneath at the beginning. And there goes Tedesco to the inside of Preston.
I spend a lot of time on my bicycle, running in the gym to try to be ready just for that. I'm not trying to be a triathlete or some bodybuilder. I'm just trying to ride my motorcycle faster.
In cycling, you know, it takes so long to be a good cyclist because it takes years to learn how to suffer and put your body through what it doesn't want to deal with on a day-to-day basis. That, I think, is pretty key to try to help those guys with.
It's a fight out there.
First turn it down, goes Jim Gibson.
James Stewart is the heir apparent. He's changed the way Supercross bikes are ridden by every rider in every division. His gift is speed, but his challenge is controlling it. A Supercross title is probable for him in 2007 if he can stay on the track.
The only thing that happened, this year was, just had bad luck, going out in the first corner, I think five in the most important races, I went down in the first corner and ended up third, a lot of them.
Stewart is down in the first turn yet again. For the fourth time this season, second race in a row. He's gonna have to start the race 20th.
I felt like I was really patient, from Toronto to San Diego to a lot of races. I was just kind of sitting back and just waiting for the right time to put the moves on.
Here comes Stewart. Reed makes it to the side of him, but it's Stewart who comes out with the #1 spot on his way to another victory. And James Stewart. The Anaheim opener goes to James Stewart.
With Ricky going in a part-time NASCAR or doing that sport and then the racing part-time in Supercross, he's going to be tough when he does race. And, this year I can do really good. And I've got a lot of things going on that's going to make me a lot stronger this year. So, with him being out, it doesn't really change my program at all. I like racing the guy, but I still got to race against a lot of talented, guys between Chad, only rides Supercross. So definitely he's going to be strong. And, Kevin and Millsaps and Langston. There's a lot of guys that if you take yourself off the totem pole, just slack a little bit, that, you can end up in second and third, every weekend, and I don't want that, so I know what I have to do.
One of the highlights of the offseason was the Jeremy McGrath Invitational, hosted by the King himself. His race was innovative and a blast for racer and fan alike. Features like the hidden start, huge freestyle ramp jumps, head-to-head match racing, and a 16-lap main were the cake. The icing was the huge purse. Kevin Windham took home $125,000 as the overall winner. Kevin Windham is one of the fastest riders in the world. His smooth style has helped him win Lights Class championships and Supercross class races. A veteran racer, he's hungry for a Supercross title in 2007.
We're actually at my mom and dad's house in Centerville. This is where first place I moved up to when I moved out of my childhood house. And lucky enough now to have my parents here with me, and pretty much got everything I need here. When it was mine, I built my shop and my track here, and we're pushing right at 800 acres, and it's a lot. It's enough. My dad has some cows on it, and motocross tracks here and there, and able to ride and fly and do all the kind of things that we like to do. So it works out perfect for us. Now I live just about a mile down the road, and they live here now, and kind of like the Windham compound a little bit. When I get on a bike, it's like putting on a glove, literally. I mean, it becomes part of me. It becomes part of who I am, and I really try to distance myself from feeling like man and machine. I feel like it's all one piece, and we have to work in conjunction with each other. I can't put it into words. I don't know how I do it. People seem to like it and are inspired by it, and that makes me feel good. That's an important part of my ride, and I take pride in that. But to put it in words, I can't do it. It's not something that I even recognize or even try to do. It's just me and the way I ride. Typically for me, we spend a lot of time on shoulders. I think do a lot of core strength. A lot of it comes from obviously your core. A lot of it's in gripping with your legs and leg strength, so you can take a little load off your arms. But that's basically the areas. You want to have a good, solid core. I personally like to have really strong shoulders, and then your lower body is essential too. By the time I was around in 94, it seemed like everybody did it. Everybody was training hard and working hard, and obviously Ricky's kind of shown that works. He's put a lot of hard work in his career, and I think everybody just raised the bar, and now it's like everyone has a trainer, everyone has, is really into their physical fitness and trying to do whatever they can to get the edge, I like to go out to nice dinners. Me and my wife try to get out, at least once a week and have a sort of date night where we can go out and just me and her relax. A lot of my time is spent with my kids and doing things that they enjoy to do, and spending time with them, being a family man right now is really, I think, my main hobby that takes up most of my free time, all of my free time, as a matter of fact. Well, there's always a sense of urgency to go into a season, and when you put the amount of work that any one of us put into it, from anybody that can line up on that gate, on any Saturday night. The Supercross Championship has been elusive. I've had some good wins in the Lights Class, and won some championships there. But as far as Supercross, other than a couple wins, I've had some tough luck and not been able to be where I want. So I do think that it's important, not necessarily for where I hope to go in life and how long I hope to stay here, but it's just something that's what we race for. That's what we do is we want to win. It's in every one of us, the drive for competition, the drive to win, and ultimately that's the grand prize. It doesn't get any better than that, and it's something that I'm hungry for. Whether or not it comes, all I can do is continue to work, and I have that ethic in me that I'm not going to give up on it. I'm up in age, but I feel like I'm sort of a veteran with some good experience, and hopefully it can pan out for me this year.
The 2007 Amped Mobile Supercross Series begins in Anaheim, California, for the first of 3 staggered races that begin the AMA rounds. In between events in Anaheim, Phoenix and San Francisco will host critical early season races. Houston will host the next round. Then the series returns to San Diego, California. The Amped Mobile Supercross Series then begins its East Coast swing with races in Atlanta and St. Louis. The riders will then race in Daytona Speed Week's traditional Supercross event before heading to Orlando, Florida. With 4 rounds to go, the season continues in Indianapolis, Indiana, followed by a race in Dallas, Texas. Then it's on to Detroit and Seattle. The Amped Mobile season will then wrap things up and crown its champions at its final round in Las Vegas, Nevada's Sam Boyd Stadium. Be sure and look for 3.2, the next edition of SX Exposed, the Supercross video magazine. In that issue, we'll bring you all the action from Anaheim, Phoenix, and San Francisco. Don't miss it. That's going to do it for SX Exposed 3.1. Be sure to check Studio411.com and Motocross.com for the latest in motocross action DVDs.